Hello and welcome to another edition here on ESG TV. My name is Raj Arya and today marks the 6th edition where the theme for ESG TV in 2020 is regeneration, and of course the focus will be on the 4th Industrial Revolution. In the previous 2 editions, we looked at the implementation of various sustainable practices by businesses. Well, today on the flip side, we'll be looking at the measuring and reporting of the success of those practices from a macro and micro point of view. And to do that, our special guest today is SUNITA Devi, Sustainability and Communications Consultant with devcomtrends.com.my. And the topic will be sustainability reporting and missed opportunities for the corporate sector. SUNITA, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you, audience.
All right. Okay, SUNITA, for the benefit of all of our audience, could you just share a bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure, Raj. I started off as a corporate trainer in communication skills back in 2003. And in this experience, I've identified that sustainability communication was coming into practice at that time. Not much locally, but overseas. And that's when we started talking about sustainability. We started writing about sustainability and just to create awareness. And a lot of my clients at that point were from the hospitality industry, manufacturing, and also IT services. So they found sustainability is a totally new concept because they understand sustainability as planting trees, recycling, and those kind of activities. But when we talk about sustainability, there's a whole big canvas there, which is related to, number one, reporting and compliance, setting targets, creating impact on the areas of economy, environment, and social. At that point, when I started, they still kept talking about planting trees and recycling. So I've been working ever since 2008. We did a program for sustainability awareness where we talked about this to companies on green office practices. And we've moved on now, almost 12 years later, talking to board of directors of companies on how to actually improve their sustainability, make progress, and promote good impact to their company and their sustainable development. So that's where we are at right now, Raj.
Well, fantastic. Now we know traditionally from a business or corporate perspective, it's usually financial reporting, dollars and cents, number crunching, revenue and profits. Now, sustainability reporting obviously is a whole new perspective in the bigger scheme of things. How do you get corporates buy-in in terms of focusing more on sustainability and, of course, reporting it accurately at the end of the day?
In my experience in the last 12 years, talking to corporate leaders on sustainability through conferences, face-to-face coaching sessions, and even in seminars. As far as corporate companies are concerned, we've identified that they are on board when it comes to sustainability reporting. Some have actually gone beyond where they've integrated best practices right up to ground level. However, when you talk about non-financial reporting, the approach has always or still is to a large extent compliance related. So unless it's made compliant, people really approach it as and when there is a CSR budget. One of the key areas that we've seen as a progress in Malaysia is when Bursa Malaysia amended their listing requirements and indicated that corporate public listed companies need to report and need to produce a sustainability report, and if possible move towards integrated reporting where the annual report will now contain a chairman's statement on their sustainability. So that's where the progress has been right now. So if you're talking about making the numbers count, yes, it's important. However, now companies are realizing that, hey, they've got to really do this in the proper way.
Right. You mentioned a very good point there that most companies do it because they have to meet that compliance requirement. So obviously there would be gaps there where we would prefer to see them to do so much more. Are there any ideas in terms what could motivate these companies to actually going beyond or going the extra mile in terms of creating a sustainable culture and environment in their companies?
Certainly there is. The largest motivation would be the reducing of cost. See, when you review your actual activity and investments, whether it's sustainability or not, even as simple as introducing a digital product or a web application for your employees to log in when they need to get to work on time. It's as simple as that. Integrating digital technology into their work practices actually helps to reduce a lot of cost, and it helps to also reduce a lot of risk. If the companies approach reporting in this manner, where they understand the purpose of best practices, then they are able to create good impact and they will see the value of this. One of the other upside of this is that they gain a lot of insights. Now, companies I've noticed or we've worked with, this particular banking institution, yeah, they introduced a platform for SMEs so that they can actually practice responsible lending and also practice financial inclusion. One of the best things about this website and portal and also this application is that they reach out to all the SMEs in the country in order for them to educate them on the financial products that this particular company offers. And the good thing is, most of these SMEs, if some of our businesses would agree that SMEs are everywhere in this country, and to classify one SME, we have to only look at two criteria: the number of headcount and the amount of profits that we're making. But if you take a look at the rest of the SMEs in the service sector, there's a lot of insights that we can gain that service sector SMEs are indeed a good client segment or customer segment for these bank products where the loans are mostly for SMEs. So insights is another purpose for reporting. And the other one particular area is, which is a very common area, it is reputation. Because when the company actually embarks on sustainability tenets and principles, and they cascade down this information down to their ground level, their employees, their executives, and someone is able to get this information outright, especially a stakeholder, it can be a government stakeholder, investor, customer, whoever, and they're able to understand that the products that this company is offering is really very much a sustainable product. They find that the reputation of this company is up there. And that really is the motivation factor for most companies to approach sustainability reporting or even sustainability reviews in the right manner.
Right. Now, leading on from that, I can see that you were touching on the bits about stakeholders as well. So in terms from a value chain perspective, while a corporate may be going all out to doing this, how do they influence or how do they bring their stakeholders in from up the value chain down to the value chain, from your suppliers, vendors, partners that you work with, all the way down to your consumer or retailer itself? So how does that work?
One of the key factors of engaging with supply chain at the moment has always been business driven. But engaging with stakeholders does not really have to be for the purpose of making profits. Stakeholder engagement is pretty much critical because this really talks about what or how the companies invest on an annual basis on sustainability. One of the ways in which companies demonstrate this is in their reporting, where you will find them having this highlighted in their sustainability statements called materiality matrix. What's concerning to their stakeholders, what's concerning to the business. One of the companies that I'm very proud of talking about is this healthcare service provider. They look at engaging with their stakeholders who may not be their direct customers now, but they look forward to engaging with the future customers as well by creating awareness, education, and consistently screening for healthcare services in communities, in local communities, and very remote communities really. So the idea here is if a company were to look at sustainable practices and would like to develop a sustainable business model, they need to look at engaging with stakeholders, not just for the purpose of making money, but they need to look at engaging with stakeholders to create awareness about the kind of business they're in, the kind of matters that is important to the stakeholders, and also consistently educating the stakeholders. One of the other key areas is identify your stakeholder. Who is your direct, significant, important stakeholder? And then you invest in that particular stakeholder for one financial year, and you move to the next stakeholder. You can do this so that sustainability works for you and you create good impact. Just don't do this general engagement where you just cast the net out wide and then you try to reach as many stakeholders at one go in one financial year. That doesn't really create a lot of good impact to a large extent.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense. I think of looking at it as a long-term goal rather than as a quick hit that you're hoping to reap the profits. Like I say, you plant the seed, you sow the rewards further down the road as well. Now, when we look at this, of course, there's also the other side where people are now starting to talk about sustainability risks. Now, in the context of or in terms of risk, obviously a financial risk, operational risk, so many forms of risk. So where does sustainability risk fit into this picture?
Right now, sustainability risk is being approached by companies as far as compliance and reputation risk is concerned. That's how Bursa Malaysia is putting forward a lot of these compliance matters and educating them, hey, if you don't report, it's not a very good thing. And to safeguard reputation, a lot of companies try to engage with the right consultants to do the right thing. However, when you look at sustainability, you have to review every angle of risk to your business. And one of the disconnect in the course of my consultancy, I've understood when we do this program, we conduct this program for company directors, yeah? We ask them this question. How many of you have actually taken a look at your risk statement in your annual report for the past 10 years? Have you reviewed your entire risk profile? Has your risk division, now, I mean, all due respect to all the risk managers out there, but have you actually looked at your risk from the aspect of environment, social, and economy? And by saying this, we go on to the next question and ask them, how many aspects of environment actually has a direct risk to your business? How many of the social aspects, of the 19 social aspects, have got a direct risk to your business operations? Have you looked at this in that manner? So then they sit back and they say, I must ask my risk manager. So this is how companies, the disconnect or gap that I've been trying to explain is, this is how companies have not approached sustainability and should approach it that way. They have to review the risk, number one, direct and indirect, to the operations, to the profitability. At the end of the day, business is for profit. So to the profitability, to the operations, and to the long-term value creation of their business. So if they want to be in the business for a long term, take a look at what are the long-term values that you can create through your business. You'll be able to identify through this risk, you'll be able to identify new opportunities.
Right. So far, we've been talking a fair bit about sustainability reporting. Now, why don't we take it a step further to get your thoughts on regenerative reporting?
Regenerative reporting, in my opinion, is the integrated reporting. What integrated reporting does is it fills the gaps by opening up sustainability reporting principles from the environment, economy, and social perspective, from the number of standards that there are, into looking at the investments, inputs to the organizations, whether it's a human capital investment, natural investment, manufactured investment, financial investment, to the outputs and the long-term outcome. So that's really regenerative reporting at the moment. And one of the good things is in this country, in Malaysia, we've looked at regenerative reporting. Some of the companies have started looking at it, but they don't call it regenerative reporting really. In the area of agriculture, especially for palm oil industry players, in the area of planning for urban development, we've got urbanization and regenerative urbanization happening. We've also got the industry, technology industry players looking at regenerative reporting, but they do not call it regenerative. They're still calling it roadmaps, blueprints, and so forth.
Right. So where do you see this heading perhaps 5 years or 10 years down the road? Will we see it playing a bigger part in decision making from a corporate sense?
That's a good question, because in my opinion, we're still scraping the tip of the iceberg when it comes to complying. So to get the companies to take a look at the entire review and get to the bottom of that iceberg, 5-10 years, I doubt it. But this practice can be accelerated if there is demand from the consumer, from the clients, from the suppliers, from the investors, and of course, most importantly, from the government.
Right. Obviously, compliance is a very low bar, but one thing we're noticing in the world today is investor activism, where the public listed companies, there's pressure being put on them through, obviously, through the media, through their investors, shareholders, and all that, to, how do you say, do the right thing, or becoming more concerned about the bigger picture, and that is Mother Earth. That would be a good driver as well, right?
Yes, definitely there is, depending on the investor. We've been working with this conglomerate, and we asked during the training to the founder of the conglomerate, how many of these international benchmarks for that investors are looking for that you're on, or your company is on, or has been reviewed for. So he smiled and he sat back and he said, hey, my father, when he started this company, didn't have to look at worrying about investors, okay? But I think my children will have to worry about who or which investor to attract for which kind of business subsidiary. And they're into construction, hospitality, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the things about investor engagement and investor relations is typically identifying what do investors want us to do. A lot of these benchmarks are there with a series of questionnaires, a series of ranking. So it's pretty much like a report card. You take the test, you get your report card marks, and you put it out there and you promote it and say, we are the top 30 on CDP benchmark. We are the top 10 in TCFD. We are the top 15 in GRESB, or we are on MSCI, Morgan Stanley Composite Index. Then you've got the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. So a lot of companies in Malaysia want to be up there, but here's the thing, unless you have enough resources to be put into a division that just sits down and looks at investor relations, it's very difficult for them to actually get onto these benchmarks. So that's where the gaps are right now. So my recommendation, take a look at the benchmarks that are related to your industry. Get onto those benchmarks. That means invest into ensuring that you are now made visible. Your company, your brand, your name, your initiatives, your impact, your activities are up there and made visible for that particular segment of investors. Then you are creating better impact for your business sustainability.
Fantastic. Yes, baby steps. Have to start in the right direction and then work from there. Now, one final question. Obviously, we're in the age of the fourth industrial revolution, which is making the headlines all over the world. So how do you see sustainability reporting fitting in terms of IR 4.0?
Very critically significant, simply because technology is the enabler for sustainability, right? Yes, we have a lot of initiatives. Don't you want to know which initiative has created good impact for your business? In order for you to do this, you need what we call a dashboard. a progress dashboard for your sustainability reporting, a progressive dashboard for your sustainability period. And to do this, Industry 4.0 technologies and tools would help you to do this. One of the other areas in technology 4.0 that we've, Industry 4.0 that we've started last year, if I believe, is we have an Industry 4.0 roadmap. Now, it's assumed that this roadmap only applies to technology companies. Actually, no. Every company can take part to understand how Industry 4.0 affects their business sustainability and helps to accelerate their sustainable development over the long run. Sustainability doesn't work without funding. Sustainability cannot work without infrastructure. Sustainability cannot work without having the proper guidelines and regulations. Sustainability would not work without the skills, and sustainability will not work without technology. So to create good impact for your business sustainability, you need to start looking at those aspects and technologies that would help you to create good impact through your sustainable development projects. And one of the key areas here is to look at what works for your organization.
Fantastic. Sunita, thank you so much for your time today and all that you shared with us in terms of sustainability reporting. It definitely gives us a new perspective on the importance and the place it has moving forward for our corporates around the world.
Thank you, Raj. It's really been good. One last recommendation to the audience. We have an annual report you have to present an annual report in your company. And when you produce an annual report, you carry out what we call an audit. Can you please start looking at a sustainability audit now? Because if you're looking at sustainably developing your business, you need to have a sustainability audit to review how you can do this better.
Fantastic. Thanks for the tips, Sunita. And on that note, since we closed off on IR 4.0, just to let all our audience know that coming up during the next edition here on ESG TV, we'll be having the IR 4.0 Regenerative Nation Forum. So that is something I'm sure all of us will be looking forward to checking out, and it will be taking place next. So remember to stay tuned here on ESG TV. On that note, my name is Raj Arya signing off. And remember, to all of us, we should play our parts to make Mother Earth a better place to live in. With that, take care.